Why exactly has there been so much negative reaction to Wes Anderson's Asteroid City? What's interesting is the common problem that people have with this film. Take a listen.
While it's technically well crafted, I could not get into the story.
It's a very visually pleasing movie, but the actual important things, the story, the characters, they just don't exist in this movie.
I honestly don't know how you can spoil this movie. This film might be Wes Anderson's least plot-focused film in quite some time.
Instead of making more meaningful films, he's basically just making the same kind of lighthearted comedies that he has been.
It just overall just gets very unfocused, very messy in the story department. And while it is a fun movie that maybe you won't understand everything going on, there's a lot of themes that I wish the film would have really touched on a bit harder, and I'm really disappointed they didn't do that at all.
Clearly, the problem is with the story. But simply saying that it lacks story structure is still a vague answer as to why this film exactly fails. Reviewers are calling it unfulfilling, meaningless, or unsatisfying. But what does that practically mean? If you or I were in Wes's shoes, what changes could we make to save the story? In order to answer that, there's a more important question we need to ask ourselves. Why do most people watch movies? And while I answer that, let's go see Asteroid City. Movies are a storytelling-based art form and could be compared to a fiction novel or a bedtime story read aloud. Most people don't see movies as a trip to the art museum. Admiring beautiful works of art has its place in time, but it's a completely different experience from being told a story. I know the cinephiles are saying,
a movie is 24 frames per second. Every frame is a painting.
True, but people go to a movie to be told a story. Marveling at masterful artistry is not enough for a moviegoer to be satisfied. And finally, on this point, people don't watch movies merely for entertainment. The best movies are entertaining, but also leave us with a truth about a universally human issue. People watch movies to experience a story that entertains them, but also resolves a relatable human issue by the end. So does Asteroid City have entertainment value? Sure, it's outlandish, amusing, and zany, but does it weave in a human issue that is resolved by the end? Well, some reviews say that it has a theme of grief or existentialism or nihilism, but the film lacks a core character arc that teaches us a human truth. Let me show you what I mean. Let's look at Toy Story. It's got humor, a unique visual style, and a lot of characters. All things that Asteroid City has. But it's all grounded with a through line, which is Woody's character arc. Woody starts off being Andy's favorite toy, and he holds that position proudly. But when Andy is gifted a Buzz Lightyear for his birthday, Buzz becomes Andy's new favorite. Woody is overcome with jealousy and envy towards Buzz, unable to appreciate that Andy is happy playing with Buzz. Then, the plot of the film forces Woody and Buzz to work together in order to escape danger and make it back to Andy. Ultimately, as Woody bonds with Buzz and depends on him for survival, he learns to accept that Buzz is a really great toy for Andy, and that their purpose is to make Andy happy. We've all had these feelings of jealousy and comparison, worrying that if someone was better than us, we'd get tossed aside. But harboring those feelings lead to bitterness and hatred, which tear us up internally and negatively affect others externally. When we watch Toy Story, we relate to Woody, but then learn with him, receiving the truth that we should want the best for others more than ourselves. So if jealousy was the relatable issue embodied in Woody's character flaw, what is the issue and flaw at hand in Asteroid City? Well, who's the main character in Asteroid City? Let's take a quick look at the story to find out. The movie starts with a playwright who's putting on a play called Asteroid City. He writes his play, works with actors, and rehearses. Within the play is a character named Augie. Augie is visiting Asteroid City because his son Woodrow is showing off his invention at a contest. It turns out Augie's wife died a few weeks ago and he's been keeping it a secret from his children. But then he tells them.
Let's say she's in heaven, which doesn't exist for me, of course, but you're Episcopalian.
Then they meet an actress who has a daughter. The father and son fall in love with the mother and daughter. The invention contest begins. An alien shows up to steal the asteroid, and then immediately leaves. Now everyone must be quarantined in Asteroid City while the government makes sure that this news doesn't get out to the world. Augie's son suggests that this alien could hold the meaning of life.
What's out there? The meaning of life. Maybe there is one.
The genius inventor kids rally together to leak the news of alien life to the outside world. Just as the quarantine is about to be lifted, the alien returns to put the asteroid back, and now the quarantine is reinstated. So the people revolt, using all the inventions to overpower the military. But in the climax of this action, we cut out of the play and follow the actor who plays Augie, who's in a panic as he can't figure out Augie's motivation. He goes backstage, seeking the director in desperation. He's worried if he's doing it all wrong. He quotes the line from earlier, asking if there even is a meaning to life. The director tells the actor who plays Augie that there is no right way, but to just keep telling the story anyway. The actor who plays Augie steps outside of the theater and has a conversation with an actress who was supposed to play Augie's wife in the play until her part got cut. She recites some lines. The playwright of Asteroid City dies in a car crash. Now we go back into the world of the play as Augie and his family leave Asteroid City now that the quarantine is lifted. The end. I think Augie is the main character, but the constant reminders that Asteroid City is just a fictional play just keeps me from being able to connect with Augie. Maybe the actor that plays Augie is the main character, but there's nowhere near enough screen time to flesh out any potential arc for him. Here's how I'd rewrite it. I'd drop the whole story within a story thing and make Asteroid City the main story. No playwright, directors, or actors, just the characters within the fictional world of Asteroid City. Just as Toy Story mainly focused on the relationship between Buzz and Woody, I'd have my version of Asteroid City focus on Augie and his son Woodrow's relationship. I'd keep the whole setup of them being there for this invention contest, and the fact that Augie has been hiding the death of his wife from his kids. Augie's son is trying to put the finishing touches on his invention. He's intimidated by the other genius kids' inventions. The group of young inventors play games to see who's the smartest, and Woodrow is treated as an outcast among them. We learn the dynamic of Augie and Woodrow's relationship, as Augie is distant from Woodrow, more focused on taking pictures of Asteroid City and its visitors. Include a scene where Woodrow tries to show off his completed invention to Augie, asking if he thinks it will win, and Augie not really showing interest, too distracted taking a picture of the famous actress he's admiring. Woodrow is disappointed in his dad's lack of interest in his invention, and suspicious of his dad checking out a woman that isn't his mother. The night before the invention contest begins, Woodrow finds a cremation urn with his mother's name on it. Woodrow confronts Augie about not telling him of his mother's death. We learn that Augie hasn't been much of a father to Woodrow, and that the mother was the real parent. Woodrow asks if Augie is going to abandon him to go be with that actress lady. Before Augie can answer, the alien shows up, stealing the asteroid and flying away. Augie tried to snap a picture of the alien, but wasn't able to. As the government quarantines everyone and tries to cover this all up, the young inventors rally together with a goal to make contact with the alien and establish peace before the military screws it up and ticks off the aliens. Woodrow thinks if he can be the one to invent a way of contact with the alien, it will impress his father enough not to abandon him. Augie is now having an existential crisis as he's hit with the weight of his wife's death, disbelief in God and heaven, and the knowledge of extraterrestrial life. So he holds on to the one thing he can control, his photography. His goal is to get a picture of this alien, as it would make his career. Augie learns that Woodrow is trying to get in contact with the alien, so he shows some interest in Woodrow's inventions for the first time. But for now, Augie is only interested for selfish reasons, purely thinking about capturing the first picture of an alien. The other young inventors are jealous of Woodrow's progress on his alien contact device. They try to sabotage it, and Augie stands up for Woodrow for the first time. This is still slightly motivated by the fact that Augie thinks Woodrow's invention will help his goal. As they send the first contact signal out to the alien, the father and son ponder the meaning of life together. The government catches on to Woodrow's plans. Thus, Augie and Woodrow bond even more by evading the government together. As they hide out in a cave in the desert, waiting for a response from the alien, the spaceship appears right over them. The alien comes out and communicates with them via the invention. They ask the alien why it stole the asteroid. It explains that the asteroid was its kid's pet rock, and it had fallen out of their spaceship while on an intergalactic road trip. The alien had searched far and wide to find it and was willing to risk its life, entering a war-ridden planet to retrieve the rock for its kid. Woodrow asks the alien what the meaning of life is, and it draws a heart in the sand. Augie snaps a picture. The flash startles the alien and it leaves. The military finds Augie and Woodrow in the cave and brings them back to their base. The government destroys Augie's photo before they can release him and Woodrow. Augie must come to terms that he didn't get what he wanted. As the quarantine is now lifted, the actress tells Augie that he could leave with her if he leaves his kid behind. Woodrow watches from the car, waiting to see his dad's response. Augie tells her goodbye and walks back over to Woodrow in the car, drawing a heart in the dust on the window and snapping a picture of Woodrow's face through the heart. He gets back in the car and apologizes for lying about the mother's death and promises Woodrow that he'd never leave him. They drive back home as Woodrow asks about the two of them going to another invention contest. Augie genuinely inquires about Woodrow's ideas for his next invention. The end. So in my rewrite, I tried to show that Augie and Woodrow struggle to find the meaning of life, ultimately learning that it's love. Augie has to learn how to be a loving father. Woodrow has to learn that he doesn't have to earn love through his achievements, but that he's already loved the way he is, and that love is the most important. On that note, Wes Anderson, you are loved the way you are. I love you. Whether you're Episcopalian or not, God loves you. And I'm a fan of your work, but more importantly, I'm a fan of your life. Keep seeking the truth through your work that has an influence on so many people. I'm a young writer-director just making this video as an educational experience. Art is subjective. The way you tell stories is not wrong. And if you want to tell stories with more inner conflict and character arcs, you can do it. Until Wes releases his next project, you can be a part of an incredibly meaningful film that is all about love. It's called Made with Love. The main character is inspired by my best friend Jay. In fact, this is him. He's gonna star in it. We need your help to raise the budget. Visit madewithlovethemovie.com to donate and join thousands of others in this movement for a meaningful film that will change lives. Have a happy day, my dear friend.